1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Okay, wonderful. Now that I have your attention, and as we move into our math lesson, today you all will become mathematicians, learning to read and write numbers up to 1,000. So as mathematicians, you all will be using some tools to help you complete your assignment. Today, your tools will be base 10 blocks. We've had previous experience using base 10 blocks, so right now I'd like you all to get out your math notebooks and your base 10 blocks so that we can practice and so that I can see how much you remember. Okay, I'm going to call out a number, and you have to show me the number using your base 10 blocks. So, the first number is 32. 32. How would you show me 32 using your base 10 blocks? Your paper should look something like this. You should have 3 10 blocks and 2 1 blocks. This is a representation of 32. Okay, wonderful. Now that we've practiced using what we already know, we're going to build on our knowledge today. As I teach this, I would like you all to please follow along. Use your base 10 blocks as I use my base 10 blocks, and to copy it down in your math notebooks. So on the board you can see here I have a place value chart. It has a 100s column, a 10s column, and a 1s column. Now, this number here is 231. 231. The 2 is in the hundreds column, the 3 is in the tens column, and the 1 is in the ones column. So, we have standard form. Standard form is how a number looks all the time. It's 231. 231. It looks just like this in standard form. So I have to ask myself, what does the 2 represent when it's in the hundreds column? How many hundreds are there? 2 100s, so 200. Plus, how many tens do we have? What does 3 represent? It represents 30. Plus, how many ones do we have? 1. So 200 plus 30 plus 1 is also called expanded form because we broke it down into 100s, into 10s, and into 1s. So it would look something like this. 200 plus 30 plus 1. 200 plus 30 plus 1 equals 231. So now we have to use our base 10 blocks to display our understanding that this number is 200s plus 30 plus 1. So I would ask myself, how many hundreds are there? 2. So I would pick out 2 100 blocks. Remember to follow along. Then I would pick out 3 tens blocks. And I would pick out how many ones? 1. So this is a picture of 231. 231. Okay? Let's do another example. If I wrote the number 345. 345. What would this number 345. Just like this. Then I ask myself, if the 3 is in the hundreds place, how many hundreds are there? 3. So 300 plus how many tens? What does the 4 represent? 40 plus how many ones? 5. So our expanded form would be 300 plus 40 plus 5. So 300 plus 40 plus 5 equals 345. So, how would we use our base 10 blocks to display 345? Well, how many hundreds are there? 3. So we would get out 3 hundreds blocks. And we would, how many tens? 4. So we would have 4 tens blocks. And how many ones would we have? 5. All right. So this is a picture of 345. 345. Does anyone have any questions before we move into our guided practice and then our independent practice? During the guided practice, I would call out a number in either standard form or in expanded form. Then the students would be expected to use their base 10 blocks to display their understanding of this number. I will ask them how many 100s, how many 10s, and how many 1s are in the particular number, and also ask them how they know this and to explain why. They will also be asked to describe a number using their base 10 blocks in expanded form. For example, if I had the number 365, the students would display that number using their base 10 blocks, and then they would say how many hundreds, tens, and ones it has, and they would say it using 300 plus 60 plus 5. Then for the independent practice, students would be completing a 10-problem worksheet, and they would have to at least have 9 out of 10 problems correct to achieve mastery. And they would be writing the number in either expanded form or in standard form. And I will walk around the classroom to ensure that all the students are using their base 10 blocks to display the numbers. They will also be able to draw the base 10 blocks if they choose to do so. Then to summarize the lesson, I would ask a few students to explain how they built their knowledge today using reading and writing numbers up to 1,000.